your scalp ages 7 times faster than your face. So that says a lot. There is also a statistic where 50% of the women lose 50% of their hair by the time they hit menopause.
So basically, your internal gut health is the primary reason why you'll have a great hormonal balance. And once I have good hormonal balance, is when my skin and hair will be flourishing.
Yeah, your hair regenerates every 90 days. And that explains why so many women are experiencing irregular periods, PCOD, and even early menopause.
Give me like top three things that you eat non-negotiable every day. I think sleep is also something that people really struggle with because till 2 a.m. in the morning, people are scrolling through reels.
And the window of growth hormone is only from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. So even if somebody's getting that 8 hour of sleep, but if they're sleeping after 2 a.m., so when you ask me about what can I do for my PCOS and for my thyroid and for my hair loss and for my weight gain and for my adult acne, it all boils down to how your adrenals are responding to your everyday life.
We've been struggling with hair fall and we end up blaming the bad water of Dubai or the weather or the bad shampoo, but it's actually something that's internal. Women in general struggle a lot with hormonal imbalance, and that can be primary cause of hair fall. Today, in this episode, we are actually decoding every bit of hair fall and hormone relation. And if you are somebody who is actually struggling with hair fall or breakage or hair thinning, this episode is just for you. Hi guys, welcome back to the Fat Kid Show, जहाँ हम करेंगे गपशप एकदम ही अनफिल्टर्ड. अगर आपने मेरे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है, please do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, JioSaavn and Gami. Today's episode, we are joined with a special guest, Dr. Manissha Pandit, and she is a wellness consultant and hair specialist, hair and hormone specialist to be precise. So we will be decoding every relation between hair and hormones and how do we grow gorgeous hair just like her. Welcome to the channel, Manish.
Thank you. That was a beautiful intro.
How are you doing?
I'm very well.
You have like, mashallah, gorgeous hair. Let me say that.
I appreciate the compliment. Thank you so much.
Today we really want to decode how to grow a mane like yours and what relationship hormone and hair has. So after 30s is when I actually realized that I need to start taking care of my hair and not just skin. And I realized that I also have thyroid, which there were no symptoms at all except hair fall. What is the relationship of hormones and hair?
Well, that's a very important question, and it's important that we address not just what we see, but also what's happening inside. Because, as you said, you did not just start taking care of your skin, but hair. Just a fact, your scalp ages 7 times faster than your face. So that says a lot. There is also a statistic where 50% of the women lose 50% of their hair by the time they hit menopause, which is a very staggering number. Like literally half the world's population of women lose 50% of their hair. And the connection is 80% internal and only 20% what we do on the outside.
Can we reverse that, like stop the hair fall for 50%?
It is a cyclical organ, just like your skin. So, as we discussed earlier, your skin regenerates every 30 days.
Correct.
Yeah, your hair regenerates every 90 days. So, before we even go into the hormone and hair connection, it would be good to understand what the hair growth cycle looks like. So, you see the hair strand that's coming out of my scalp. It is actually connected to a dermal papilla, which is right beneath the skin, beneath the dermis, to be in the scientific term. Now, this dermal papilla has something known as daughter cells. In scientific terms, we call them fibroblasts.
Yeah.
It has the ability to multiply. Whenever there is a micro or a mechanical stimulation, which I grew up doing a lot, like a massage or, pulling the scalp when we are doing the hair ritual, hair oiling ritual. What happens during this process is these fibroblasts, they get stimulated, and because of the stimulation, there's something known as multiplication of these fibroblast cells. And a healthy scalp, when you look under a trichoscope, you will see more than one hair strand coming out of a healthy hair follicle. So it's not one hair strand per hair follicle. You can have 3 to 4. I've actually gotten mine tested. I have like about 3 to 4 in most of my hair follicles. That explains the hair density and hair thickness. So this stage where your hair is still intact with the dermal papilla is called as the anagen phase of hair growth.
Okay.
All right. The second phase is called the catagen phase. Catagen is where this dermal papilla will still be intact with the hair strand, but the multiplication of your fibroblast cells will be halted, which means your hair growth has come to a resting state. If you do not continue to give it the nutrition and the nourishment and the right rituals, this resting stage can then go into the telogen phase, which is
So this resting phase happens at a certain age?
It's not about certain age. It's happening throughout your life. As I said, it's a 90-day cycle. So if you are a healthy individual, your anagen phase of hair growth will stay intact up to 6 to 7 years. And that explains why you have long hair.
Okay.
So the longer the anagen phase of hair growth, which means your hair continues to grow in length and even in terms of its luster, in terms of the thickness, in terms of just how your hair looks. You see people with dry, brittle, frizzy hair, that's a sign of something which is internally not correct. It's not just connected to the dermal papilla, but the hair is also crying for help. Your hair, how it looks, it's a silent whisper from your internal system. What's happening systemically. So if you honor it by going back to a ritual, by going back to your nutrition, by nourishing it, even how you touch your hair, that also kind of gives energy. You see these plants around. If I don't give them water with the right intention, it's not going to grow.
Correct.
Yeah. So that's the same philosophy applies to your hair growth. Your scalp is the soil from which your hair can grow from, and it only depends on the quality of your scalp, which will determine the quality of your hair strands. So in the resting phase, what happens is the constant supply of nutrition to the hair follicle is at rest, which means it's a normal physiological process, because after 90 days, that hair will actually shed off, or if you're continuing to give it the proper nutrition, the proper care that you would be giving otherwise, your hair will continue to stay in the anagen phase of hair growth. But as we know, hair fall, hair loss is such an, I would say, epidemic right now. So many people are experiencing hair loss, hair thinning. There's male pattern baldness. Females are experiencing male pattern baldness because of excess of androgen. So whenever there is a disruption in the hormonal balance, your anagen phase moves to the catagen phase. So that's why to just answer your question in terms of how hormones are related to your hair growth, this is a very important correlation to understand. Your hair growth cycle is directly proportional to your hormonal health. So if my hormones are imbalanced, my anagen phase is not going to stay in the growth phase. It's going to go to the resting phase, because your body's priority is not hair growth.
It's to save what is there on your scalp right now.
Not only that, your body in fact taps into the resources of your scalp. See, this is your center command of your body, your digestion, your heart, your thyroid, your kidney, your liver. So whenever it experiences some sort of an imbalance, it's going to prioritize to the absolute non-negotiable of your body, which is your vital organs. Hair and skin is extra. This is thriving. This is when everything is beyond an optimum reference range. Your body will be like, okay, I feel safe. Now let me transport and allocate the resources to the scalp. And think about it. Your head is literally at the other end of your body. Your head and your limbs. Your body is not going to prioritize your hair health or your skin or even your mental well-being, so to speak, when you are just surviving.
Yeah.
Your body's primary function, we are primal in nature. We need food, we need clothing, we need shelter. This is our basics.
Correct.
Right? Only then, when I am done with the basics, I'll think, oh yeah, now let me think of a good relationship. Let me have a big house.
Yeah.
So even like as a human being, I'm first worried about my basic survival. I'm not gonna,
Correct.
like I do healing work as well, and I'm sure like somebody who's just struggling to pay their rent is not going to come for a healing session or for a cacao ceremony, so to speak. This is luxury. So your body also allocates resources according to what is important. Your primary goal is to breathe,
Correct.
to digest khana, to be able to sleep and get up and do your work and show up every day. For that, your cortisol goes on an overdrive because your body is already feeling that there's a threat. So I should actually allocate resources to my central part of the body and the limbs, because it's probably preparing you to fight a battle. So not only the body is not worried about hair, it's actually tapping into all the resources, because your every single hair follicle, it's like I would say like a stem cell. It has the ability to multiply. It has the ability to foster new growth. All that is going to come to a rest, and every single hair follicle has its own cortisol. And cortisol and the anagen phase of hair growth, which I just described, they are not the best friends.
Yeah.
So that's why we see a visible spacing on our hair. We see visible scalp through the hair. All these things are indicating that something inside cellularly is imbalanced. And just to give you a context, your hormones are like your chemical messengers. They are
Correct.
constantly communicating to your body of what is of utmost importance.
So basically, your internal gut health is the primary reason why you'll have a great hormonal balance. And once I have good hormonal balance, is when my skin and hair will be flourishing.
Exactly. You need to be in a state of absolute survival. Only when my survival is guaranteed, my body is going to think, okay, I'm going to allocate my resources elsewhere. And that's when your hyaluronic acid, your proteoglycans, your estrogen, progesterone, they all feel safe to get secreted. In fact, there is also a theory. It's not a theory, it's a known fact scientifically, because your body's main function is to able to digest your
Correct.
food and breathe, right? As a woman, our ovaries secrete estrogen, progesterone throughout the cycle. That's also a very normal thing. That's like a healthy individual I'm talking about. But whenever we are feeling any sort of mild stress in my environment, my body is gonna come back into a survival mode. It also has the ability to shut down my fertility completely if I feel there is a major threat in my surrounding. And that explains why so many women are experiencing irregular periods, PCOD, and even early menopause. Because your ovaries' function is to procreate. You cannot create anything from a place of survival and from a place where you are maybe contemplating, how am I going to run this battle? How am I going to fight this battle? And the modern day world is incredibly stressful.
Yeah.
Cortisol is not the best friends with melatonin, which is your sleep hormone. And if you don't sleep early and if you don't sleep on time, you will not be secreting your growth hormones. Growth hormones get secreted only when we are in a very well-rested, deep sleep state.
So it's all like interrelated. It's a cycle.
Everything is interrelated. Like cortisol is good only to a certain extent and only during a certain period of the day. After sunset, your body wants to slow down. Your body wants to wind down. And this applies even to men. When men are constantly in a state of overdriven, constant state of just to be able to meet their ends, and they are constantly working, there is no rest, constantly looking at the blue light, laptop, phone, Netflixing maybe, even like when they think that's actually they're chilling, their body is up. The body is not going to secrete melatonin because the body thinks I need to stay up because maybe there is an activity which needs my presence. Cortisol allows you to power through the day. It allows you to lift heavy, which ideally for a man should be in the morning, and for women it should be based on where you are at in your cycle. If cortisol is constantly being pumped into your system, you're going to have an adrenal exhaustion, which is, if you're a woman, is going to interfere with your progesterone secretion. Progesterone is our progestational hormone. It is what we need to feel safe in our body. If you are excessively secreting cortisol, this progesterone does not get secreted. So when this does not get secreted, you become estrogen dominant by default. And when you are estrogen dominant, you start experiencing weight gain. You know, have you seen women who have this cortisol belly?
Yes.
That's a classic estrogen dominant sign. Adult acne, hair thinning, again, they have recession of the hairline, male pattern baldness starts because they also become dominant in androgens. And when you have excess testosterone in your body, that gets converted to DHT because your body does not know what to do with excess testosterone. And DHT then fights with your hair follicles for nutrition. That's competition.
Yeah.
And DHT always wins. What happens when DHT wins is your hair follicle will miniaturize over a period of time. And this hair follicle miniaturization is what creates baldness and hair thinning and hair loss, which does not just create a self-image issue, but it is speaking a much deeper story that your body is crying for help.
Yeah. Basically, the hair follicles give up fighting with the cortisol, and that is when things go aside.
Yeah, as I said, your body is only going to prioritize the absolute non-negotiables. Like, you eat food every day. You need energy. What is that energy coming from? It's coming because your blood is circulating in your digestive organ to create and assimilate the nutrition so that you can power through the day and do your basic stuff.
Doctor, before we proceed ahead, I know cortisol has been a very hot topic on the internet as well, and controlling cortisol, and I would like to deep more into that. The primary, what you said, is sufficing the nutrition what your body needs. How do I understand how much, and what are the basic things to take care while I'm sufficing the nutritional need to my body, so that every organ, every hormonal is secreted well?
So, of course, you cannot, if you are very well in touch with your body, which I think women already have the power, we're very intuitive, we know what our body is trying to tell us. But with, the modern day story that we are in, a lot of women have also lost touch with their own bodies. Our body has a very innate wisdom to communicate to us. And as I said, hair is just whispering something. If there's any abnormality in its growth, it's a whisper like something is wrong internally. So this should be your wake-up call to maybe get a blood work analysis done, get a salivary index test done, because this will give you a proper indication of where you are at. If you are not able to, comprehend, why am I suddenly gaining weight? Why am I suddenly feeling like I have brain fog? I'm not able to remember things. So a good tangible gauge is getting a blood work done rather than guessing.
Blood work every 6 months or a year?
See, I get my blood work done once in 2-3 years. That's probably because I have understood my body now much better than I used to when I was in my early 30s. But yes, if you're just getting on the journey, once a year is ideal. People like Barbara O'Neill say that you should not even get your blood work done because you're still invading, it's still an invasion, right? The less is always more in terms of your hair health and overall well-being.
Correct.
It's just going back to roots. Waking up early, sleeping on time, having the right nutrition, having nutrition which your body can recognize. Your body can only metabolize food that it can recognize. Like today, what are we eating? What are we consuming? There's fast food everywhere. We are always ordering in. We don't know what oils have gone in making the food. Seed oils are the hardest to metabolize, by the way. Sugar can still get metabolized if you run for an hour, but seed oils take years to get out of your system.
Oh, give me an example of the seed oil.
sunflower, safflower, whatever people are using in hotels and
Peanut.
restaurants. Yeah, peanut is still slightly better, but I would prefer something which has a high smoking point, like avocado, coconut, ghee. And in Indian tradition, we only use ghee.
Yeah.
So yeah, your body has to be able to not just recognize, but also assimilate the nutrition in the most optimum way. Because see, globally, the topsoil is deficient.
Correct.
Yeah, you obviously have to supplement your daily khana with proper supplements as well. But the food that you're giving might as well make it resourceful for you, right? Make sure that the way you're sourcing your food is coming from organic. If not organic, at least you can make food at home. So you know exactly what ingredients have gone in. Because at the end of the day, food is not just calories, it's also information. Every time I think of food, my body has already started secreting the digestive juices, right? Your body is so intelligent. So if you give it something that it can recognize and metabolize faster, your body is going to pick it up as a proper information, signal your body to optimize all the functions of the body. And that's when your body will feel safe enough to allocate resources against gravity. Like, think of this, your hair is literally at the other end. Your body has to work extra hard to put the nutrition to your every single hair follicle. So nutrition is the gold standard key here.
Give me like top 3 things that you eat non-negotiable every day. That's also keeping into consideration for your hair and skin.
So the first thing that I consume is like a warm water with 1 spoon of ghee, because it balances out my insulin. I'm not like, first thing I'll have coffee, because that'll give me an instant crash. So I want my energy levels to stay stable. That's like a non-negotiable, a fat first in the morning. So for your hair to stay optimum, your insulin levels always have to be balanced. And that's the first thing you can do by consuming. Either you can put that ghee in your coffee, or you can just put it in hot water, or you can have some soaked Brazil nuts or soaked almonds, because their fat content is high. So that's my number one. Number two, I like to keep my food simple most of the days. It's either eggs or a khichdi, because I'm an Indian and I love my dal chawal.
Yeah.
And the easy the food is to digest, the less energy your body puts only in your center command, which is your, the core. Because for me, it's also because I work for myself. I need to make sure that, my cognition is at its, I wouldn't say at its peak, but I need to show up for myself. So if I'm constantly feeding myself with food that it cannot recognize and metabolize, all the energy, all my prana is going to be in my gut. It's always going to be digesting the food, because you also have the ability to, your brain waves at different times of the day and different times of the cycle also change.
Yes.
So just to optimize that, although I'm not a machine, I know that, but when you work for yourself, you know how important it is to show up. So
Yes.
having simple khana is not just good for your body overall, it's also good for your cognition. You can think more clearly.
Yeah.
So that's number two. Have something
It's a very simple example. If one eats fast food
Yeah.
versus one eating dal chawal, the person eating dal chawal will have much more energy and better clarity when they're thinking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And number three, I would say, like, the more antioxidant rich food I'm having on a daily basis is good in balancing out the reactive oxygen species I'm
Yeah.
constantly exposed to. Like, see, we have lights, we have AC, we constantly around pollution. And hair is not just for vanity, but it's also a barrier. Literally, like, from your external and internal environment. So every time I'm stepping out, I am constantly exposed to ROS, which can enter my systemic blood and create free radicals.
Yeah.
So just to compensate that formation of free radicals, having an antioxidant-rich diet every single day, which is blueberries, or, you can have supplements in the form of resveratrol, which is constantly, helping you fight against these
The free radicals.
Yeah, against the free radicals, just so that you feel not just young and energetic from the inside, but you exude it in your aura. Because at the end of the day, the kind of work we do, people don't buy or people don't really listen to what we say. They also feel into our energies, right?
Yeah.
And hair is a very energetic organ.
Yeah, it's the first thing that like when you actually see a person, that's will, oh, you've got beautiful hair.
Yeah, and even like
Yeah.
you look at somebody's skin, you look at somebody's smile, you can feel it in their energy.
Yeah.
Hair is has such spiritual significance as well when it comes to, you know, you being able to stay connected with yourself. And if I have to talk about being spiritually connected, your hair is literally the antenna of your nerve. It's an extension of your nervous
Correct.
system. It helps you stay connected. It helps you be more intuitive, and it helps you channel messages faster. I think people who are listening to me and who understand what I'm saying, I think they understood the message.
So, what are your thoughts on intermittent fasting, which is a very popular form of eating habit?
I mean, it's great intermittent fasting when it's spaced out for a woman during her follicular and ovulation works very well. And for men, if they intermittent fast every day, because see, as a woman, I work on a 28-day estrogen progesterone cycle, and a man is on a 24-hour testosterone cycle. So a man can do intermittent fasting every day, but a woman, when she's in her luteal or her menstruation, it's better to just eat. Not follow the fad of intermittent fasting.
That causes stress to her internally.
Yes, because it's perceived stress when you intermittent fast and even like lift heavy weights during your luteal or menstruation. It's a perceived stress to your body, which will keep you in that state of fight flight and not allow you to relax into your softness, which as a feminine we always need.
Yeah. Now, understanding how my hormone cycle is throughout the day and monthly as a woman. I want to understand like when do I secrete cortisol and how does my cycle look throughout the day and what factors do I take care while balancing these?
That's a episode on its own, but I'll try to make it as short and as articulate as possible. So the first thing when you wake up in the morning, your cortisol is at its peak. As I said, even for a man and a woman. Again, the concentration, the intensity of the cortisol in a man and a woman is obviously...
Cortisol is stress hormone.
It's a
basically.
stress hormone, and it's an important hormone. Don't get me wrong. Like, you need that a surge of cortisol because you need to wake up from the bed, power through the day, plan your day and ahead, because a lot of women today are not just doing one task. They have multiple things. So then we need that cortisol overdrive first thing.
A healthy stress.
A healthy stress is good. You know, there's something known as hormesis. Have you heard of this
No.
concept? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yes.
So that much amount of cortisol is great because it helps you power through
It's basically
and plan.
motivation. Like
Yes.
Motivate to wake up.
Up until sunset, it's okay to be operating from that go mode because, you know, we also live in a city like Dubai, and it's, you know, people are ambitious here. People are always socializing. There's something or the other going on in Dubai. So for that level of socializing, we need cortisol. But once sun is about to set and we are ready to wind down, and preparing for bed should start at least 4 to 5 hours before your bedtime.
Before we proceed, I have seen a lot of videos online and also studies that we should not be having caffeine first thing in the morning because that really surges your cortisol level. Is that true?
It, as I said, like first thing in the morning, you can wake up, but you can nullify that effect by adding a fat or even holy basil. There are supplements called L-theanine. If you add a little bit of L-theanine in your coffee, it nullifies that urgency
Sudden
of
surge.
crash of energy. So there are ways of adding nootropics to your coffee first thing in the morning. If that's the only drink you want to have first thing in the morning, there's always ways to biohack and, you know, create your own hacks which serve you. I generally add lion's mane, or I'll do a little bit of a mushroom in there, reishi, whatever. It depends on where I am at. I also sometimes add turmeric and pepper. Very minimal amount, but that anti-inflammation throughout the day helps me power through. And also it's a placebo effect that, you know, I have not just served myself caffeine, which is going to make me crash eventually and make me want to have another cup of coffee. But these simple hacks, which everyone can tweak in their lifestyle, will help them from that sudden crash of energy in between the day and asking for that another cup of
It's the same
coffee.
for like normal chai as well, right? Like what Indians drink.
Yeah, like you can also make a very healthy chai today. Like, add tulsi in your chai, add cinnamon. In fact, I think chai still has a better option of making it more nootropic rich than coffee. And I prefer chai over coffee any day, first thing in the morning.
Okay, so that's what in the morning. It is not necessary that you give up caffeine completely. Just tweak so that it does not give you a sudden drop in energy a little later.
Yeah. So coming to the sunset, your bedtime routine should start 4 to 5 hours before you actually go to sleep, because you also have to prepare your body to able to secrete those growth hormones in the most efficient way. And growth hormones is what allows your anagen phase of hair growth to stay in its longer phase. It doesn't just allow your hair growth, but it also allows hyaluronic acid, which is good for the effect of plumpiness on your skin, proteoglycans, which kind of surrounds those fatty cells, digestion. You have to make sure your food is also well digested by the time you sleep. So that's why 4 to 5 hours is a good window for you to plan your dinner, have a good 2 hour gap, so that when you're sleeping, your body is not digesting the food, but it's actually allocating those resources to secrete the growth hormones, because every day is a new day, not just for you, but also for your body. You are detoxing so much in your sleep. Also, a phenomenon of autophagy happens when you let your body fast for a longer duration.
Regeneration of cells.
Yes, and your mitochondria, which is where the energy generates, has the ability to create these new cells. So the more we optimize our body into these basic routines, I mean, we were told this even when we were growing up. Today, people talk about it as a big biohack, but this is a very basic Indian ritual that we all, grew up with, like, finish your dinner before sunset and prepare yourself going into sleep, read a book instead of looking at your phone or watching a movie. And even if you do have to watch something, we also have something known as blue light blocking glasses today. Or maybe just at home, don't have these white lights, have a candle light on. All these things stimulate that melatonin to get secreted, which allows you to have your most deep and comforting sleep.
Okay. I think sleep is also something that people really struggle with, because till 2 a.m. in the morning, people are scrolling through reels.
And the window of growth hormone is only from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. So even if somebody's getting that 8 hour of sleep, but if they're sleeping after 2 a.m., it's not serving them. And that's why we are seeing so many burnt out, I wouldn't just say burnt out women, but even burnt out men, because growth hormone cycles remains same for both of us. By 10 or 11 p.m., if you manage to get yourself to bed, it's a big achievement. And I understand today teenagers, I think most of them think, I only think when it's night time and when I have my alone solitude time. But your body is too intelligent. We do not realize, but it's a very intelligent machine that you have been gifted, and honoring this vessel every single day will reap great benefits. The ROI on this real estate is much bigger.
So that's my cortisol, that's my melatonin. What other hormones and how the fluctuation is throughout the day?
For a woman, to be specific, because we work on a 28-day cycle, it depends where you are at in terms of your menstrual phase. Now, if you are menstruating, you are dominant in something known as follicular stimulating hormone, FSH. Now, this hormone is like, she's like a very intelligent student. She knows exactly which follicle to go and mature. And because she's an intelligent hormone, she's also influencing other hormones to get secreted in a timely fashion. So right after follicular stimulating hormone, your estrogen is getting prepared for the next 2 weeks. And that will only happen when you are regulating the metabolism of the FSH in that phase. Like, if I have to explain you, when you're menstruating, you menstruate for at least 5 days.
Yes.
And in those 5 days, FSH is your dominant hormone. Although you will be having other hormones going in play, but they are not that active. But this hormone, which is responsible to mature the follicle, is in turn going to influence how your other 2 weeks are going to be. So as a woman, this is your stage where you need to be more reflective, because that also impacts your brain waves. You have something known as a weak theta. So that's why when you're on your period, you don't feel like going out. It's an ideal time to, go for a therapy or do a cacao ceremony, go within, start asking yourself the questions like, are my friends, they're really my friends, or are they like, because
Self-reflect.
self-reflecting is the most amazing thing to do during these first 5 days of your menstruation. And as soon as you finish and of course, even your workouts need to be timed according where you are at, because your body needs a rest. You're in the mode of reflecting. So any sort of stress, as we spoke about, will be a perceived stress. FSH is not just responsible to mature the follicle, but it is also responsible to disintegrate the other follicles. So what happens when your FSH is imbalanced? That's when PCOD happens, because these other follicles which are in your body will not get disintegrated, and that's why when you look at the ultrasound, you will see multiple cysts. It's the inability of that FSH to have secreted in an optimum way to disintegrate this. So when you honor your body in that period, you are not just fostering a very healthy, as I said, a healthy soil for the other hormone to come and do its job. You are also preventing stuff like PCOD, which then has its own repercussions on women's reproductive cycle.
So my next question is, how do I balance the FSH?
As I said, do more things for yourself, rest it out, have more womb nourishing food, a
Give me
pumpkin
example.
soup, a sweet potato soup. All these kind of food allows your body to feel like safe. If I'm going and doing 100 kg deadlift on my period, my body is not going to thank me later on. Right?
So I've got 5 days to nourish that hormone so that it gives me better cycle throughout.
Exactly. As I said, the more we cycle sync, there's also something known as seed cycling. Have you heard of it? Seed cycling is a very powerful way of metabolizing your hormones in the most cost-effective way in the comforts of your home. So during your during your menstruation, which is your first 5 days, and the following follicular phase, flax seeds and pumpkin seeds allows the metabolism of the hormones better. So secretion of your, when you are influencing estrogen, you're also influencing its other gang of hormones.
Yes.
Oxytocin, dopamine, all these good hormones that allow you to feel happy and also look beautiful.
Yes.
You also have estrogen receptors in your brain, so it also helps with better cognition. So we are preparing our body to go in full bloom in our follicular phase.
So you said flaxseed and the other seed?
Pumpkin seed.
Pumpkin seed. So we eat it just like raw?
I prefer to roast the seeds, because seeds can be hard for some people.
Digest?
Yeah, for some people who have IBS or something. So it's always good to roast your seeds so you can, break it down easily and allow your gut to digest it and assimilate the nutrition better.
I can add it on soup, oats.
You can powder it. You can just add it on your smoothies, in your salads, or you can just have 2 spoons of these seeds on your cycle.
Okay, so my 5 days of the cycle, I should also be having positive mindset, because a lot of women, they keep on saying, oh, I've got my periods. And that's a very negative approach towards menstrual cycle.
Yes.
And that also affects your hormones directly or indirectly.
So, what in my experience I have seen is women dread periods because of the pain associated with it. We have to also understand that period is an inflammatory process. Some amount of inflammation comes with symptoms like pain. The problem and the alarming sign for you would be when that pain is excruciating. What happens when you have your periods? Prostaglandins gets secreted, and it contracts your uterus, right? Now, if these prostaglandins are over secreted, because you have not been good to yourself throughout the month. If you have eaten junk food, if you have lifted heavy before your periods, again, perceived stress creates, it's a ripple effect.
Correct.
Right? So you will have excruciating pain, which makes your uterus contract even more vigorously. And that's why the connotation of periods is associated with, oh, it's either something I don't want to experience, something that it gives me a lot of pain. But as you said, positive mindset is not just limited to our menstrual phase. A positive mindset is also an outcome of your hormonal harmony. Your hormonal harmony happens when? And self-care is not just honoring yourself by going for a massage or a bubble bath. Self-care and self-love is also having better boundaries. It's also knowing when to say no. It's also knowing when are you over giving or are you giving from a place of pleasing someone.
Yeah. Prioritizing yourself.
Your body is too intelligent. It's just not what you're feeding it on your plate. It's also what you're feeding through your emotions, through your actions, through how you talk to yourself. So to answer your question, the first few days have to be reflective. They have to be nourishing, not just in terms of food, but also in terms of being ability to say no. Your body innately doesn't feel the need to go out and socialize. Correct. And it's the worst time to go and have a difficult conversation with your partner, because you're going to be too sensitive to any feedback that you might receive at this time. So I think this can be a great time to do something for yourself and be with yourself.
What about the next 2 weeks?
Oh, follicular phase, you can go all out, socialize, have the most difficult conversation with your partner, lift heavy, run fast. Because see, estrogen is an anabolic hormone, right? It builds muscles, it builds confidence. It not just makes you feel good, but also makes you look good. Your lips will be plumper. Your boobs will be perkier. You will be ready to go out on a date and maybe even date somebody who you really like and ask them out. Although it shouldn't be the case,
but a caring hormone.
Yeah, it's also like when you look at hormone, when you understand the chemistry of hormones and how they function and how they influence your body, it's a great relationship advice as well.
I think for women, it is much more important to also understand hormones in detail and the relationship more than men.
This should have been in our school curriculum.
But it has never been there.
Yeah, because, we've had
now because of social media, people are getting, oh, I've got high cortisol, oh, I've got this. But like earlier, before this, no.
No, and I think that's why having a hormone education, a basic hormone education and education about even relationships should be a definite part of our school curriculum. And finances, yes. Finances for sure, but I think if it gives us the emotional intelligence, everything else comes through. Like, spiritual intelligence comes through when we know how to regulate our emotions. If you look at it, we never were taught this growing up. How to have better boundaries, how to speak our truth.
Even as an Indian family, we never have been taught.
No.
Never.
Why do you think there is a surge of thyroid issues? Thyroid is our main metabolizing hormone, right? It's literally situated behind our throat. It's your throat chakra, which is getting... Our inability to speak our truth has caused suppression of the thyroid gland, if I have to speak of it in a very generic term. So growing up, if we had the basic hormonal education, how every chakra is directly associated to every single organ of your body, we would not just be emotionally intelligent, we would be also very physically intelligent. Like, I would know when to say no. I know when I can actually go and honor myself or indulge in that treat. Because when we start hitting 30 and beyond, I cannot eat the way I used to eat when I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
The only predictable years of your life are when you're in your reproductive, which when you're menstruating, and when you're menopause. The most unpredictable years are your perimenopausal years. And now it starts as early as early 30s to mid 30s. It's no more a game of, late 40s or early 40s. The lifestyle we have today, the kind of stress we are experiencing in modern day, women are perimenopausal I have clients who have not had periods for a year and they're in their late 30s. It's not a good place to be in. I see clients from all walks of life, even people who do not have a very demanding job. Either they have suppressed some emotion very strongly in the body and now is manifesting as a disease. And the first organ to experience any imbalance is your hair, because you do not need hair for survival. It's the first organ that will experience the burnout, and it's the last organ your body is going to go and give any resources to.
Damn. This is scary because, you know, the number of PCOD and thyroid cases are also going so up. Every second women I meet have irregular periods.
Oh, yeah. India, Asian women are, I think, 70 to 80% of them have PCOD.
How do I as a woman take care of this for thyroid and PCOD? These two things affect your confidence, your mental health, physical health, of course, even your relationships, because you don't know what's going on in your body, and then there is a burst of energy you have, and that comes out as anger as well. How do I regulate these two, thyroid hormones and the PCOD problem?
I wish I had a magic pill and a magic solution to that. It's all about cycle syncing. A man is on a 24-hour testosterone cycle and a woman is on a 28-day estrogen progesterone cycle.
Correct.
If you understood how estrogen and progesterone dance is in your body, you'd be able to listen to the cues and the symptoms in a more efficient way. Not just for beautiful hair and beautiful skin, but also to regulate your emotions. And just to give you a context, modern day life is stressful, because of which you are secreting a lot of cortisol. I think we already
Yes,
covered the
yes.
O axis. Did I
Yes.
say O axis in that
No,
one?
no.
Yeah, so I'll just explain
No
it here.
problem.
So when you have excess of cortisol is actually secreted by something known as pregnenolone. So this is the precursor.
Yeah.
So pregnenolone is also responsible to make progesterone.
Okay.
You getting the context?
Yes.
So
It's a precursor for progesterone.
also. So, but because the body is in a constant state of fight, flight, fear, your body is going to prioritize secreting cortisol because it has to prepare you to run from a battle.
Correct.
Now, this pregnenolone is going to get diverted to only secrete cortisol. What will happen? So, the progesterone is not being secreted.
Yeah.
Now, you have a cortisol overdrive now because you do not have progesterone. By the way, the ratio of progesterone to estrogen is 200:1. That's the ratio we need to have a healthy nervous system regulation, have healthy hair, have healthy skin, and even be able to be good in your relationships and show up as your feminine, as your soft side. That's the ideal ratio. But what's happening? We are losing estrogen 200 times faster than estrogen. So that
Progesterone 200 times faster than
yes,
estrogen.
we are, because the first hormone to dip is progesterone.
Progesterone.
This makes most of the women estrogen dominant. So the culprit is cortisol only. So when you ask me about what can I do for my PCOS and for my thyroid and for my hair loss and for my weight gain and for my adult acne, it all boils down to how your adrenals are responding to your everyday life. That's why reflecting, journaling, having that time for yourself is so important. Only then will your parasympathetic nervous system get switched on. What is parasympathetic nervous system? Which is responsible for your growth hormones, for your serotonins, for your dopamines, for your beautiful oxytocin hormones, which makes you feel comforted. Your parasympathetic will be on only when cortisol is at bay. But now what's happening? Cortisol is at its peak. No progesterone. I am estrogen dominant. So now what will happen? Thyroid is going to jump in because it's the main metabolizing hormone. It will jump in. What will happen? Your T4, which is the inactive form of thyroid, is not converting into the active form of thyroid, which is T3. Now, no T3 means you are not able to metabolize food, you're not able to metabolize and process your emotions, traumas, anything that you need to let go. Your body is not just a manifestation of what you're eating, it's also a manifestation of what you're not able to process.
That's another topic altogether.
It's an altogether different topic, but this oat axis needs to be in every school, it needs to be in every gynec's office, so that women understand their bodies better. These days people are talking about how periods and how cycle syncing, seed cycling, why are they trending? They're not buzzwords. These are actually very old traditions, which is coming into limelight now thanks to social media and thanks to awareness and thanks to a lot of health coaches who are practicing functional medicine now, because we do not mask the symptoms. We try and go to the root cause. When you address the root cause, not only will you be able to understand why you have certain symptoms, you will also know what not to do to get to that position again.
To trigger them.
Exactly. Ayurveda is thousands of years old of, I think, wisdom that we were passed on. And I feel very blessed that I have been following a lot of Ayurvedic principles from a very young age. And this has enabled me to implement and integrate it better. But I understand for people who have grown up in today's generation, where there's TikTok and everything, and where we have all the fast remedies. Functional medicine goes through the root cause, which means the results will be slower, but it will be sustainable. A lot of people today in their early 30s or late 20s are going for something known as hair transplants.
Yes. That's been so common, especially here in UAE.
And the hair industry is a staggering $88 billion industry.
Yeah.
And not because of the preventative measures that we have access to, but because of all the invasive treatments, from hair transplants to hair extensions to all the other autologous treatments like PRP, mesotherapy. All this thing is not going to work unless and until you address the root cause.
So we've spoken about like how hormone regulation is important throughout the month, throughout the day. Balancing each hormone is important, and especially as a woman, understanding every hormone is important. And now the biggest question is hair fall. Doctor, everyone sees and like, I'm just losing hair. And few simple remedies does help you, but overall definitely getting your blood work done, knowing your hormones is important. Give me some tips and few knowledge and throw some light on the hair health. How do I stop my breakage, dead ends, split ends, dry? What are the biggest mistake that women does
With the hair care?
with the hair care?
So the hair care can be categorically divided into two aspects. One is the internal hair care.
Correct.
And the external hair care. Your topical solutions are not going to work unless and until your internal ecosystem is taken care of, which is with the right nutrition, right supplements, hormone harmony. So now when all of this has been taken care of, 20% of how your hair looks, what is the texture, what is the luster, how is your hair just overall looking, it's important to make sure that the products you're choosing are natural, organic, because your hair does not just literally soak in everything through every hair strand, because as your hair grows, every hair strand has the ability to have trace minerals, metals. It also gives you a hormone history. If I do a hair tissue mineral analysis and I send it to a lab, this is enough for me to know where the person is at hormonally.
Yeah.
That's how sacred your hair strand is. So what you're applying on your hair is very, very important. And that's why, when I look at what today's corporation is selling us, saying that, oh, this is, the ultimate go-to product. Although there are some amazing patented technology, I do believe in formulation when it is done by a hair care company, not by a skin care company. It's very important to discern when you're buying your products. Is it coming from a skin care specialist or a hair care specialist? I formulate my own oils because I have understood the biology and the physicality of the hair from a very from a trichologist's perspective. Everything you apply on your scalp is getting systemically absorbed. So that's why the combination of materials you're using in your product is of paramount importance. The botanicals in your oils or the natural herbs, they don't just carry the ability to alter certain pathways in your blood, but they also carry the wisdom. Anything that's grown from Mother Earth has its own wisdom, which I truly believe. And that's why I believe in, you know, saging my environment or doing cacao ceremonies, because all these herbs are from Mother Earth and they carry a very grounding and a nourishing and a very feminine energy.
If you had to give me like top 3 examples of like the best herb for hair, what would it be?
The number one would be Bhringraj, which is the king of
I
hair
think it's getting a lot more popularity
in
now.
Ayurveda. Yes. And see, internationally, see, Bhringraj is not just a fad or a buzzword again. Bhringraj has shown clinically to alter beta catenin pathway in your body, which is responsible for your hair growth regulation. Rosemary clinically has shown to be as effective as minoxidil, of course, in a otherwise healthy individual. All these things that we are talking about only applies to someone who is healthy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I hope that you will convey this, because there are a lot of autoimmune conditions, people with alopecia, etc. All this information will not apply to them. It will apply to someone like you and I, and people who are like you and I watching the podcast. So having that awareness is also very important. But yes, Bhringraj, rosemary, black seed onion oil, very rich in thymoquinone, antibacterial, antifungal.
How do I use Bhringraj, rosemary, and
You should.
black
I just given you a bottle of Mantra. It has all of it.
But in case somebody is not accessible to the oil, which
Yeah.
I will leave it in the description box down below, the website and how to buy. But beyond that, if somebody is not having the accessibility and I just have all the raw ingredients,
Yes.
how do I use it?
By the way, Mantra is a handmade product. Everything is handpicked, curated, and brewed with a double boiling method in the Ayurvedic way, which keeps the efficacy of each and every ingredient intact, so that your body can get its actual form, so it can act, so that it can assimilate and absorb it in the in its most original state.
Yeah.
So
Otherwise, the heat can break the product's chemical.
of course, we do it in a controlled condition and a controlled atmosphere. And now I will be manufacturing it out of a factory. So it will also have a much more controlled environment, which will enable the efficacy of the product to stay for a longer duration. Which means a longer shelf life. But also because these products are curated in small batches, they're very fresh. Anything that's fresh. In Ayurveda also they say, like, consume food as soon as it is cooked, because it has prana. Prana is the life force energy. And I truly believe when you oil your hair with intention, you are channeling that life force energy through your marma points onto your hair follicles and allowing those cells to proliferate and then keep that hair growth in the anagen phase of hair growth. It's not just a ritual which comes from the ancient sages, but it is scientifically backed.
Yeah. Give me ways how people can use Bhringraj, rosemary, and black seed oil.
You can mix it in any carrier oil like coconut, avocado, any oil that you have access to. Mix it in equal proportion, and adding some essential oils like lavender, rosemary, peppermint, tea tree oil will just accentuate the quality of this oil further, because scalp microbiome is a thing. The universal scalp pH is 4.5 to 5.5, which is similar to your skin. And a good and a healthy scalp microbiome is determined by the concentration of good bacteria to bad bacteria. So when you have all these antifungal, antimicrobial herbs in your oil, this is actually supporting and encouraging your body to receive the information in its most original state, so it can manifest in the most beautiful health of your hair follicles, which results in healthy hair.
What is the people face a lot of breakage and they blame Dubai water for that.
So hair breakage is a topical problem, is because of first of all inadequate protein. How many women I have met in my consultations who are barely having 40 to 50 grams of protein, whereas your protein intake should be anywhere between 100 to 120 depending on your weight. Every meal should have a substantial amount of lean protein, which means about 30 to 40 grams is ideal to have in one meal. Your hair is made of keratin, which is protein, right?
Correct.
And the protein is responsible for the building block of your entire body, and your hair strand is no different. So hair breakage, number one reason is because of inadequate amount of protein. And of course, having those styling, heat styling tools, again, if you do it once in a while is okay. But if you're doing it consistently, if you're doing it every day, you're exposing yourself to a lot of high temperature without any protection, is going to eventually strip off the layer of that keratin with every passing day. And of course, applying something as strong as a bleach is not serving anyone good.
So you mean hair coloring?
Bleaching is the most evil form of hair damage.
It's a torture.
I had done it. So I am saying this out of experience. It took me more than a year to recover my hair's actual quality back.
How do I avoid split ends?
That is, again, I would say topical, something that you can do control externally by being very gentle with your hair, brushing it with mindfulness. Not brushing it like, I've seen some girls in my yoga's restroom where women, when they come out of the shower, they're rubbing their hair with a towel like there's no tomorrow. Your hair is in its weakest state when it is wet. Having a little bit of gentle approach when you are brushing your hair, when you are combing your hair, or even drying it with a towel. It's good to have a microfiber towel because it tends to soak the water without really affecting the hydration of your hair strand. But yes, oiling the ends of your hair is very important because this is the oldest part of my hair.
Yeah.
So giving it a little bit of more love when you're applying the oil goes a long way.
Oiling every day?
I wouldn't say every day, but applying a little bit of a sealant as soon as you're out of a shower, it locks in the moisture because there's a lot of moisture in the environment that we are constantly exposed to. Now, that moisture, when it gets trapped into your hair, is not the best because it creates something known as frizz and brittleness. When you lock in the moisture when you lock in the moisture right after a shower, when you have done your conditioning, etc., it's locking in that moisture. That moisture is good for your hair, not the moisture from the environment. So applying a little amount of sealant after every hair wash seals that hydration and keeps your hair looking much more healthy and also has a very beautiful and a healthy luster.
Do you have any product recommendation for that?
Of course, you can use Myntra as a sealant, but I think a little amount of silicones is not very harmful, although I know a lot of people are anti-silicones and anti-sulfates. I think washing your hair also with sulfates once in a while is okay because the dirt and the grime that sulfate can take out, a natural shampoo is not the most ideal. Again, but not using the sulfate-loaded shampoo every day is not something I recommend.
Now that we are already on the hair care routine part, like how I will shampoo, conditioner, sealant.
Yeah.
Should I dry my hair naturally or blow dry my hair?
So as I just mentioned, the moisture from the environment, when it gets trapped in my wet hair, is going to create a lot of frizz. Right? And if I let it dry naturally, it is going to be a breeding ground for fungal growth.
That's dandruff.
Which results in itchiness, flakiness, and then in a more severe condition, dandruff. So drying your hair after shower at a very controlled temperature is the most ideal thing to do because you are letting your hair dry in a controlled way.
What temperature between?
See, if you have thick hair, it's okay to be on a higher temperature, but you can always maintain and move the blow dryer constantly. If you focus and localize the heat, it's not the best thing because your hair is protein and protein does get denatured with high heat. Constantly moving the blow dryer at a controlled temperature, anything which is less than too hot, like because you have the setting. So I always keep it at a medium temperature for myself. But somebody who has thin hair or who has not a very thick hair density can keep it at a cool temperature and dry the hair.
So do we need a heat protectant before this?
If you're styling your hair, like I have styled my hair today, I did use a heat protectant. And although
For
I
blow
think,
drying, no need?
although I honestly think heat protect is such a placebo, it all depends on what you are doing for those 24 hours in a day more consistently than what I'm doing for those 10-15 minutes.
And how about what do I do at night? And during the daytime, should I keep my hair open? Should I put it in a bun?
Yeah.
What is the ideal way to keep the hair?
So there's something known as traction alopecia, which is a lifestyle alopecia, which means, you know, all these girls with tight hairstyles, they have the buns on the top and even the high ponytails, which are on for a prolonged duration, cause something known as stress on your hair follicles, which is literally like strangulating your neck. Your hair does not just need care, but it also needs air.
Correct.
So yeah,
That statement.
it's your Instagram reel hook. But keeping the hair follicles relaxed, just how you take off makeup before you go to sleep, your skin needs to breathe. Oxygen is a vital energy force for your hair growth. So I'm not saying like don't tie your hair at all, but whenever you're tying your hair, loosen your crown part because the hair recession starts from your hairline.
So a low ponytail or a braid.
A low ponytail, or even if you want to do a high ponytail, which I do usually when I'm working out, but I always loosen the frontal aspect of my hair because you think about this is the highest point of your scalp. Blood flow to this point is the least. So I want to keep this part of my hair more relaxed. Stress-free. There should not be any kind of a constriction for my hair follicles to breathe. So there are some hacks that I've posted on my Instagram, like how to make sure that whenever you're tying your hair, always loosen the frontal aspect of your hair. The frontal aspect of your hair is the most is the area which is prone for hair loss and hair thinning.
Okay. And what about nighttime?
Nighttime, you can obviously make sure you're sleeping on a nice silk or a satin pillowcase. I like satin because I like to be cruelty free. So yeah, a little bit of mindfulness over there. But yeah,
Or a bonnet?
Or a silk or a satin bonnet, whatever you prefer, up to you.
Should we tie our hair and sleep or just like
a light braid is good enough. But not having any sort of a constriction on the roots is ideal. So just making a braid and putting your hair tie at the end, or just like roll it up and put it in a silk bonnet, go to sleep. That's what I did today because I did not have time to style my hair. So I styled it the previous day and I slept in a silk bonnet.
How about how important is hair oiling?
Hair oiling is not just a ritual, it is also a nervous system regulation step. What happens when I'm oiling my hair is, should I keep it like this? Does it look
It's
okay?
okay. Yeah. Be comfortable.
Yeah, because I was like too much in the front. So hair oiling for me is not just a self-loving ritual, but it's also a way I ground my energy. I also take this time to breathe more deeply.
Can you take the mic a little ahead?
Yeah.
Harmless.
Okay, I'll start again.
Yeah.
So hair oiling is a very beautiful ritual, but it's not just a ritual for self-love or self-care, but it's a incredible grounding ritual which allows your nervous system to get down-regulated. And it's only when your nervous system is down-regulated, your parasympathetic nervous system gets switched on and you feel safe, you feel comforted. And even if you're giving that hair oiling to your loved one or your sibling, it not just creates that surge of oxytocin in your body, but it also makes your bonds stronger with your partner.
Not just sibling. Yesterday, my husband oiled my hair.
Oh, how
So
sweet.
it's like our therapy time. He's
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, touch is such a beautiful
100%.
emotion to express,
and that's why we always have the memory with your mom
Yeah.
of her oiling the hair.
that's how I started this.
Yeah.
because when I came to Dubai, I had let go of my traditional routines that I actually grew up
Yes.
with. The more I have gone back to my roots of oiling and of listening to a mantra whenever I'm doing like positive affirmations, saying to myself, touching myself with kindness, reminding myself that, I'm here to hold you. All these affirmations doesn't just ground you, but it also makes you feel very safe and very held. And hair and love only grows from a place of safety. And in Ayurveda,
100%.
sneha is the same word used for oil and love.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
So that
so
means oil equals love.
so you're literally applying,
It literally is, yes.
oiling your hair is literally giving love to your hair. And these emotions your body picks up. It's a frequency. Stress is a frequency, and your body is so intelligent in picking up these frequencies because even quantum physics has now proven that we are 99.9999% energy, and the remaining 0.0001% is matter. So it's the energy that I'm giving myself when I'm doing this beautiful ritual of hair oiling with my affirmations, which also is carrying a frequency, and feeling also a frequency. So when all these three beautiful things come together, it creates a beautiful breeding ground for something to grow. And just like hair needs safety, your relationships need safety. So everything grows from a place of safety and love. Your hair is no different.
How long do I head massage when I'm oiling my hair?
Well, you can go on for half an hour, but yeah, 5 to 10 minutes is the most ideal time to activate certain marma points on your face and on your scalp, because there are certain points. Marma points in Ayurveda are literally life force energy centers where muscles, nerves, ligaments, bones, joints all intersect. So when you're stimulating this point, which is the Agnya chakra, which is your third eye point, I'm literally releasing and I'm allowing the prana to flow through. It's like I'm taking permission from my hair, like, listen, the energy is going to come now. So, do I have your permission? And I'm asking this permission with a lot of care, love, and respect.
What are like the top 3 techniques for head massage?
So, the first thing is, of course, activating the marma points. There are about 7 to 8 marma points. We can also link that YouTube video
Yes,
that I
I'll do
have as a tutorial of how to apply the oil in the most effective way. Never ever forget to make sure that after oiling or while oiling, make sure the oil is a little warm so it can penetrate your scalp better. Or after oiling, it's ideal to go for a workout so your body has a generalized blood flow. Your heart is the ultimate place that is responsible for pumping the blood, right? So having a little bit of a connection to your heart chakra when you are applying the oil will enable that blood flow to go more rapidly to your scalp. And the third one is never ever forget the hair ends, because that is the oldest part of your hair. If you want to have hair that grows out in the most healthy way uniformly, it's good to remember that point.
Is it okay to apply hair oil like once a week? Is it enough?
When someone is starting out for the first time, I recommend twice a week, and also an inversion method makes the blood flow to your scalp more effective if you don't want to go for a workout. Inversion method makes the oxygen and blood directly hit your crown chakra.
But inversion method can be done every day as well for 5 minutes. That'll be great, right?
That'll be amazing.
Yeah.
Like yoga, practicing yoga asanas are incredible because you're not just using your body, but you're aligning that with your breath and movement, and also an intention. They all have, when they all have this beautiful synergy, you will feel it, and then you will also look it.
Yeah. And how often do I wash my hair?
So I recommend to always wash your hair with the prerequisite of having oiled your hair first. So if you're oiling your hair once a week, wash your hair once a week. If you're oiling your hair twice a week, please wash your hair twice a week, because even when you have oil on your hair and scalp for a prolonged period, it is a breeding ground and it attracts a lot of debris and grime and dust. So 1 to 2 hours of oil before hair wash is ideal. And the other reason why I like people to oil their hair before washing is because the hair is hygroscopic. So when you go under a shower without oiling, your hair is literally gonna be prone to breakage. To answer your other question of what causes premature breakage is when we are not protecting our hair enough before a hair wash.
So once a week, if I'm oiling my hair, it's enough.
Yeah, it's more than enough. And if you have any access to a dry shampoo, which you can make by yourself with some cacao powder and sodium bicarbonate, just to dry out the sweat if you work out every day like me, because it's good to like get that sweat off, or maybe you can just blow dry the sweat off.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what about like oiling your hair when you have like extremely greasy scalp?
So that's actually a misconception. Like if I have oily scalp or a greasy scalp, I should not oil my hair. That's, I think, one of the mistakes that women are making.
And the other mistake is not oiling the ends. They say that scalp is the only place where you need oil.
Yes. I have a lot of doctors. I have spoken to many trichologists who say that wash your hair every single day.
Yeah. But it's not possible when you have like a... I can't imagine. I just wash
Because
once a week and that's...
Overwashing your hair, okay, if it's a gentle shampoo, I understand, but you are literally stripping your hair and your scalp of the natural oils that your body has the ability to secrete.
And also it's stressful when you have long hair.
It is. I have to literally plan my hair wash days.
I have to plan my hair wash days.
It's like calculation.
Yeah, it is for sure. Like I don't like to do it during my work days, Monday to Friday. I can't. Takes me like an hour in the morning to wash. And before that, if I have to oil, it's a task.
It is a task, and that's why when we make the most of this ritual as a time of self-reflection and a self-care, self-love, bonding with your partner, I think it makes it more enjoyable. It's like, as we start getting older, I think we start finding joys in these little activities and these little rituals. So I think finding that joy is also very important in keeping your hormonal harmony intact.
Yeah. What is your take on like keeping the hair oil overnight?
It's okay, but I don't really advocate it because again, in the night, your oiling is... it creates that greasiness in your scalp, and when you're sleeping on it, it just causes extra stress on the hair follicles.
Another complaint what a lot of women have is like after oiling my hair and then again washing it, it's still greasy and sticky. How do we get rid of that?
I do recommend some people like that double shampooing, but I advise people who are doing double shampooing to dilute the shampoo with 2 parts of water at least, so that the excess shampoo is not stripping away their natural oils.
Okay, fair enough. And beyond that, one more question I had was regarding which oil should we avoid for hair?
So, I grew up in India, so we were taught to apply only coconut oil. And coconut oil is actually high in lauric acid, which is a breeding ground for bacteria and yeast, which causes fungus and which causes your dandruff. So applying only coconut oil on its own or only applying rosemary on its own, it actually causes more harm than good because it's a very concentrated oil, rosemary. So always having a carrier oil and infusing it with herbs and other essential oils is the most ideal way to make the most of your oiling ritual.
Give me like the top 3 carrier oils that you like.
Coconut is a great carrier oil as long as it's in the equal proportion with other oils. Almond oil and avocado oil.
Avocado oil is
and
good
even
for
jojoba
hair?
oil.
Good for hair?
Yes. It's good for skin as well.
Yeah.
It's high in fat, no? It has a high fatty acids. As long as you're mixing your oils, it's the most ideal way because your scalp microbiome is very diverse. It's just like how I say, I cannot just keep eating dal khichdi every day. My gut also needs that diversity. And so does your scalp microbiome.
Yeah, so it's a good to keep on changing. And what is your take on changing shampoos? Like people change shampoo every month.
I am not a big fanatic when it comes to shampoo because think about it. You're only using that shampoo for 3 to 4 minutes on your scalp. It's barely causing anything to your overall hair health. But yes, keeping your chemicals, your parabens, sulfates to minimum, keeping the concentration of your parabens, sulfates, silicones minimum to no is ideal. But on days when you feel like you have a lot of buildup, using a sulfate containing shampoo is okay.
And how do I keep dandruff at bay? One thing, oiling, that you've said already. Beyond that,
Not sleeping on wet hair, which I think a lot of people do. And I think the region of the world that we live in, where a lot of women cover their hair, make sure that your hair is completely dry before you wear a scarf on your hair.
yeah, that causes a breeding ground for all the fungal infection.
As I said, it needs air as much as it needs care.
I think, yeah, that's it. But before we close, and I know this is completely off topic, I really want to understand your skincare routine.
My skincare routine.
It is glowing, mashallah.
Oh,
Mashallah,
thank
it's
you so
glowing.
much.
So I really want to know topically, what are the mistakes that women do, and how do we avoid, and what are the steps that you take?
So, I say this even in a lot of my workshops that I do for women. I do a lot of hormone workshops, because your hair and your skin, this is a direct reflection of your
Gut.
cellular and hormonal health.
Correct.
Yeah. So the day I started taking care of my hair, my gut, my skin started clearing out. I did grow up with a lot of acne. I had acne not just on my face, I had it on my back as well. And maybe we didn't cover this point, but I have a lot of pitta energy. Pitta is heat. As per Ayurveda. In Ayurveda, we have different constitutions. And if you have a lot of heat that is getting recirculated without expelling it out, and that's why I work out every day, because I need to expend that energy out. But if you have that energy stored in your body, it can rise. And there are different ways of your body to dissipate the heat, but the other organ that it dissipates heat from is your scalp. So that's why if you see a lot of men are bald, who are walking around bald, because at that point in time when they did not know how to process their emotions or traumas or their temper, that heat, when it was getting dissipated through scalp and through hair follicles, it literally burnt, in a layman term. Basically,
follicles.
yeah, it literally burned those hair follicles out, or caused complete miniaturization of hair follicles, causing them to shut off completely. In women, a lot of heat is expressed in terms of breakouts on skin and dryness and brittleness of hair, and also premature breakage. So a lot of heat is also what contributes to that breakage of hair. So if I have to answer, I would say a lot of cooling food, a lot of therapy, a lot of workouts, and a lot of mindfulness and cycle syncing. Like I eat very much in alignment with where I'm at cyclically, and also very intuitively, only when I'm hungry, because your body does not need that added stress of digestion, because it wants that free energy to go upwards. See, skin is also your largest organ of the body.
Correct.
It's also going to prioritize only at the end.
So you say that water fasting also helps sometimes?
Yes, done under supervision. I do. I when I consult, when I have my 3-month protocols with my clients, I do a detox program. I do water fasting, but it needs to be done under supervision. We do balance it out with adequate amount of electrolytes.
Yeah.
So that you can still carry on with your day without having the need to reach out to quick fixes.
Fair enough. We did not cover one topic, and that's hair graying. People in 2025, they have started to see gray hair.
Yeah. Premature hair graying is something that I think my youngest client is 15.
Are you kidding me?
She's a teenager. And when I work with a lot of teenagers as well. And this is something that is my passion project, to have after school hormonal health
I think that's
classes.
a very beautiful thought, doctor, because this is something that I would, if I would have grown up as a different person altogether.
So premature hair graying is also a result of the common culprit, cortisol, because cortisol and melanin are antagonists to each other. If I am having an overdrive of cortisol, my melanocytes are not going to secrete enough melanin. And again, because it's not your body's priority to have healthy hair, beautiful hair, colored hair, the resources from your hair follicles are going to go and get diverted to your extremities and your center command of the body, which is your core functions. And to add on to this, premature hair graying also happens when there's a lot of pitta energy. Hair
A lot of
thinning,
heat.
hair graying, yes. So you should find ways to process your emotions, process your stress, and find and align your circadian rhythm, like align your sleep cycle to the circadian rhythm, like sleeping just, around 9 p.m. The people who are watching will be like, she's lost it. But I understand people in their 20s and 30s will find it hard because I'm sure their social life is much more active than ours. But again, getting that quality time of sleep between 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. will save them so much hassle in future.
What time do you sleep?
I am in bed by 11:30. I'm not that good, but yeah. But there are days, like yesterday I slept at 9.
Okay.
There are days, I have my days.
Where you try to sleep at night.
Yeah, like, I'm actually planning to go for an inner engineering retreat to Isha Ashram for my birthday. And I hope to, like, really engineer my lifestyle. Because, your sleep, your food, your routine is what determines how you are going to show up in the world. There are no great people, only great habits.
And also the nighttime routine really makes it how your next day is going to be like.
Exactly.
If I'm sleeping on time, if I'm eating well, my food is well digested, the next day I wake up feeling with energy, maybe less cortisol.
Your hormones also get in harmony.
Yes.
Our main concern of aging or aging faster than where we are at today, it is all determined by the stagnancy of your energy flow. And this stagnancy of energy flow is what creates fatigueness. It creates tiredness. It creates dark circles, creates breakouts on the skin, causes thinning of hair, hair loss, male pattern baldness, female pattern baldness. Everything stems from our hormone harmony. And the better we are with our sleep hygiene, the better we are going to show up.
One topic that was left in between the conversation was seed cycling.
Yes.
I want to understand, like, at what time of the month and what kind of seeds should I be eating?
So the first 15 days is your flax and pumpkin because you want to boost your estrogen metabolism.
This is right after periods, which we are talking about.
Yeah, in your periods and after your periods. Menstruation phase is about 3 to 5 days.
Correct.
Follicular is another 10 days. So first 15 days is when you will consume your flax and pumpkin to metabolize your estrogen better, because not only do we want to make sure we have good enough of estrogen, we also want to make sure we do not have excess. So the metabolism of this gets balanced out with these seeds. And the other 15 days, you balance it out with sunflower and sesame seeds.
What does it do?
To metabolize your progesterone better, because that's your progesterone dominant cycle. So that you feel more safe. And how do you feel when you're around your mom? That's what progesterone makes you feel. Wants you to cocoon, wants you to like slow down, rest. And also you want to eat more on your luteal phase. You will have a requirement of about 150 to 200 calories more, because progesterone will make you hungry, because it wants you to slow down and focus on your inner nourishment. But not like go and get a bag of chips or something. Make sure it's a very nourishing and a nutrient dense food, because period and menstruation is an inflammatory process. We don't want to give it more inflammatory food to metabolize.
Give me like the top 3 inflammatory food which women just keep on eating without knowing.
Fried food, which is fried in seed oils. Any packaged food, any processed food, sugar, dairy, it's all highly inflammatory. Gluten. Gluten is the most inflammatory. I know for us Indians, it's so hard to avoid gluten, but the gluten we eat today is not the same gluten our ancestors
you eat
ate.
gluten, or do you avoid it?
I avoid it. But there are days when I do indulge. But just before my periods and on my periods, I try and stay away from pro-inflammatory foods.
So do you eat like rice more than roti?
Oh, white rice, any
white
day.
rice.
Khichdi. That's why, like, for me, khichdi is my go-to food. because it's very nourishing, it's very healing, it's like a warm hug in a bowl for me.
One question is like in regards to coffee and caffeine. Do you think that after 5 p.m. we should avoid it?
It's better, yeah.
Better,
The
no?
jitters, especially if you are already a very anxious person, it's gonna make your anxiety even more strong. So yeah, if you have this feeling like you get very jittery and very anxious, I mean, what after 5 p.m.? After 2 p.m. you should stop having your coffee if you want to sleep early. Yeah.
Like to balance the cortisol and melatonin.
Yeah, like, we don't want to be in a state of fight flight. There is no potential threat, but our body perceives this as threat when we are in our dominant cortisol state.
state.
We want to be more parasympathetic towards towards sunset. Only that will allow melatonin to secrete, will allow us to really sleep in the most deep and healing way. Most of your healing happens in your sleep.
When you look at somebody, can you figure out that this person is high on cortisol? Except cortisol belly is something that we spoke about. But I've also
Yeah.
seen like they accumulate a lot of fats
Yeah.
around their cheeks.
Yes. Puffiness.
Puffiness.
Puffiness under the eye. There will be bloating. There will be, of course, adult acne is a classic sign of having
High
a hormonal.
cortisol.
Yeah, even cortisol. Because cortisol, when you are highly stressed, maybe this is an important point for you to also know and add. When your body goes in a state of stress, you secrete cortisol. Cortisol will automatically and by default reduce your hyaluronic acid and proteoglycans by 40%. That's a substantial amount of decline. And that's why balancing your inner ecosystem with the right supplements, which I think you would want to add, is like having collagen, having more antioxidant rich food will allow your body to synthesize collagen from within and keep that hyaluronic acid concentration intact, because collagen also has something known as glycine, which is good for your GABA. GABA allows you to be more well rested, well relaxed. And
Like the collagen powder, I get it from the market.
yeah.
Do you have any recommendation?
I mean, I've been forever been using Neocell. I think
Yeah,
it's a
Neocell.
very
In the powder form.
yes. I think
You
powder.
just mix it in water and drink it.
Combining it with vitamin C makes its bioavailability better, and as we get, I don't want to use the word older, but as we age, we do lose quite an amount of muscle mass, and we also our body's ability to synthesize collagen is also
Reduced.
compromised.
And what about omega-3 fatty acids for women?
Oh, very, very important. Very important to use a high quality omega-3.
Iron.
Iron, ferritin, very, very important. Do you want me to list it out?
We can do it.
So if you,
If you had to categorize for women must-have supplements, which is it and why?
number one, I would say, because we live in Dubai, vitamin D, it's deficient in all my clients.
Yeah.
Because we do not go out in the sun as much. And vitamin D, as much as it's called a vitamin, it acts like a hormone. It's a fat-soluble vitamin. It literally governs a lot of metabolic functions of your body and hormone synthesis. So vitamin D is something that you should definitely make sure you have in your supplement stack. Of course, once you have checked your values. You can choose either you need a 10,000 or a 5,000 IU. Depends on your blood work, and also it's good to have a professional advise you what is the concentration you need. The second one is omega-3. Omega-3 is vital because it also serves you in terms of your cognition, making better decisions, and having a high quality omega-3 is important. The EPA and DHA should be about 800. When you turn the bottle, make sure the EPA and DHA is about 800 milligram.
Okay.
A lot of women lose blood every month, so to compensate that with an iron supplement is quite advisable, and it also depends on where you are at in terms of your value, so you can supplement with the right kind of product. Collagen stays standard all across ages and gender.
What is the best time to consume collagen?
I would say first thing in the morning after your breakfast, just, maybe add some vitamin C with it, so you increase the
Absorption
bioavailability. And also combine it with vitamin D, because vitamin D is a fat soluble vitamin. So if you've had your ghee first, it'll make the absorption of vitamin D even better. See, we can consume a lot of supplements, but yes, as you say, as you very rightly asked, the time at which you're consuming these is equally important. So again, I don't want anyone to follow this podcast to make their supplement protocol. It's always advisable to get your blood work done and get a customized protocol based on where you are at and what you need.
Yeah, but collagen is something that everybody can take even
Yes.
without the supplement
Yeah.
consultation. Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Manissha. It has been a great, insightful podcast. Very eye opening, I must say, because I did not realize how important it is to understand the hormones to solve a lot of my issues in terms of gut health and like hair and skin. So, you gave a great insight also on hormones, harmony. Seed cycling is something that I was unaware about information. Taking care of your hair internally and topically both. So, thank you so much for being on this podcast. And I hope you enjoyed.
Thank you. I really loved interacting with you, and I hope to see you soon.
Yes. Thank you so much, guys. If you still haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, do not forget to subscribe. I will leave all the details about Dr. Manissha as well in the description, and all the podcasts that she has done in the past, and the massage technique YouTube video as well in the description box down below. I will see you with another guest next time. Bye.